Hello, I'm recording this, don't know what I'm going to do with it, might be a post, it might not, but I started writing a blog to put back on the website because I need to start using the website more and all the rest of it. But anyway, I started writing a blog called Not Showing Up for Fear of Showing Off. So I'm going to just read pretty much what I've put down here and see what I'm going to do with it afterwards. So it says, my morning journal practice led me to address something that has challenged me for years, which is an underlying resistance I have to telling people what I do. So the trouble is, in essence, I help people remove themselves from the boxes and the labels that they're using to define themselves and live by. So then to try and give myself a label or a title feels bizarre. So let's face it, I'm a wee bit odd, and what I do doesn't neatly fit a title like a holistic therapist. Years ago, I put the question out to a lot of people who had actually worked with me. So they used, if they used any of my services in terms of Reiki and Sakim teaching, one-to-one healing sessions, whole health coaching, any workshops, courses or retreats that they'd been on. And the most suggested and agreed upon term that they thought of me was that they thought of me as a soul realignment guide. And the general theme was that I remind people of who they are in truth and guide them back home to their soul's essence. But then I can't really use that as a term. I can't use like soul realignment guide. It didn't feel right somehow. But anyway, who am I to have the power to guide people in that way? I'm all about the power being in your hands. You do the work, not me. So here I am, years later, still frustrated and unsure of how to market myself. So a friend brought this frustration to a head and pointed to me, it's not clear on my social media, like who I am, what I do, what's on offer here, what can I offer to people? And unfortunately, social media is where everyone seems to be just now. So I just asked for our perspective and stayed curious about finding like why on earth I cannot seem to shake any resistance I have to just talking about who I am and what I do or the impact that my work has on people. So spoke to her, and the next morning I did this said journal practice, and I decided to meditate on what was going on under the surface. So I'm asking myself, what is it that I need to be aware of? Where's this coming from? What's happening here? What is it that needs addressed? And what I wrote down was showing off. So I know, especially from the work that I do, that many of us have been conditioned to think that talking about yourself in a positive light is showing off. So bingo, that hit the nail on the head. I felt that twang. It was like, oh, that feels right. I know that one. So I mean, I've known consciously for a long time that other people's opinions don't really matter. You can't please everyone all of the time. And sometimes you can't please some people anytime at all. Like I'm always pissing someone off just by being me. And that's just the way that is. That's how it is for humans. And it's not always because I've done something wrong. It's just that way. We're all different. We're all diverse. It's just the way that it's meant to be. I mean, sometimes I do things wrong, but again, it's part of being human. So we're a full spectrum and we're each other's best teachers and all of that jazz. So I don't mind showing up in social media when I'm struggling. I'm happy to show that I'm fully human and experience all that life throws me way. But do I show up on social media in the way that I'm supposed to, though, in order to keep my flailing business going? No, I don't. And I was like, why? Why can't I do this? It's like coaches will say, talk about what people are going through, what it is that where do they want to get to? Talk about what's hurting them, where's their struggle, and how can you get the other side of it? And I've always had some sort of like, oh, I don't know why I can't. That feels uncomfortable to me. I'm happy to share reviews and testimonials, but there's something that's not right. And then I came across Gene Keys. So I was thinking about the why, and Gene Keys is something you can go online, you can get a free profile. If I do post this, I'll put the link down below. But it's really fascinating, and it's a bit like astrology or something like that, where you've got this unique coding in your DNA about kind of who you are and what you're here to do and all of the rest of it. And it was fascinating. And I remember years ago, I'd got the free profile and just kind of looked at it, and I've put it somewhere, never did anything with it. And then last year, on one of the goddess gatherings with Heal Scotland, I met Lorna Munro. I'll put her link on as well, and you can get readings and stuff from her. She's brilliant. She kind of hosted the group, the workshop that she did, based on what had happened, like when we were coming together. You know, when that group was going to come together, she did a gene key profile for that, and that's how she worked with the group. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. I'm going to have a look at that. So I decided to have a look back for the Elevation Soul Sanctuary groups that I'd done in retrospect. So I hadn't known anything about them before, and it was incredible. Like the theme of what it had attracted, like what type of people it had attracted, and what was going on in that container was fantastic. So for example, in November, the theme was like fun and flow and freedom. And the upcoming one, which is in a couple of weeks, at the Heal Inn in Skye, is about creating unity from the heart. So anyway, I digress. My own personal gene key thing talks about my purpose and my work. And in short, what I do is help people to flourish. So it says in my gene key, I use my open, giving heart to help humanity reach its peak. I view life as a human as a privilege, and my belief is that we're all custodians, gardeners of this earth, and we're all interconnected and containing all of the elements. So for me, a Reiki and Tsukki master teacher, Psych-K facilitator, modern Ayurveda practitioner, which are all about aligning with earth and its rhythms and harnessing the medicine and the wisdom that nature offers, this is key. This is what I'm about. So my shadow work comes from releasing the illusion of safety that comes from fitting in, going with the masses, putting your power in someone else's pocket, and being comfortable repeating the same mistakes just so that you don't get it wrong. So this is something that I've lived through in the earlier part of my life, and I'm sure I dip back into every now and again now. So reclaiming my whole health, physical, mental, spiritual and emotional, meant I had to choose courage over comfort and accept self-responsibility. So I'm going to be honest here, for me, that courage took a lot to get to. I had to get to a certain point, and I think for a lot of people it's very much the same. But once you get to that point, it's like, I just can't be any other way. That comfortableness isn't comfortable anymore. It feels like you can't do anything but take responsibility for yourself, and you have to have the courage to move on. So then, you might not know, I was chronically ill for a good while, about 13 years. And, you know, like everybody else, I've got life, like ups and downs and all sorts of things that happened. I've had cancer diagnoses and things like that. And the only way I could find to get through that was by taking responsibility for myself and doing a lot of training. So I had a lot of training in energy psychology practices, mind body science, and studying with the likes of David Hamilton, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Laurie Layton, who does great EFT in this grace process, and you know, all the usual, Lynn McTaggart, Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, all of that kind of it's not a new way of thinking, it's a remembering, I think is what it is. But all of these modern sciences, like the epigenetics and all of the neuroscientific principles that are just really evidence for what the ancient wisdom has known for thousands and thousands of years. So also been studying Ayurveda, which is all about how we're all made up of the elements and how aligning and syncing with nature can really support us to live the way that we're supposed to be living. So it's basically the science of longevity, the science of living a good long life and being here and being present and being human. So I've done that and kind of the training in the EFT. So one of the gifts in my gene key is that I'm able to see suffering for the gift that is. It's an opportunity to change and create something new, to evolve, to elevate. I can detect messaging from nature and intuition, and have a gift of teaching in a way that allows people, no matter where they currently are, to remember the potential that they hold. I'm a lover of all aspects of creation, human nature, and I love to make connections and connect others as well. So what this is like, I can see suffering as it's not just your story, it's a human story. So I can take any judgment or anything out of that, and I can just accept it for, that's what is. So personally, I'm in a constant state of creation. And this gift is probably why I struggle so much defining myself and my role, because I'm always becoming a different version of me. So as a side note, I do ever think about that, how everyone you meet perceives a completely different version of you. So depending on where in your life you met, like what age were you, what was happening, what was going on for you, what was going on for them as well. And you start to look at things that way, because we think that we know someone. We might have met someone 20 years ago, we might have went to school with them, we might have met them a few years ago. And we have these preconceived ideas, these judgments, these perceptions of who they are, but we don't really know it all. But when you think we're all going through the same sorts of things, it's a human condition, it's a human story, it becomes harder to judge people in that way, and to be so harsh with who you are. So you begin to love humanity, and you just think, well, we're all in this together, really. We can see the potential in everyone, and when you do that, you can start to love more deeply. So, I can have love for humanity, so that doesn't mean I like everyone. Doesn't mean I think everyone's great. It's just I can have a love because I can see at the essence of them that I can resonate with some part of them, because I'm a full spectrum of being human. I've felt all of those lower emotions, the shame and the guilt and the anger and the frustration. I've also felt the joy and the bliss and the ecstasy and the absolute kind of oneness. I've experienced that full spectrum, and so I can connect with that. So I resonate deeply with the human condition, and I believe that everyone has worth and value and something to contribute. I view the whole farce of life with humour and humility because, according to Gene Keys, I am a mountain of benevolence. So that means I accept people as they are, while simultaneously bringing them to life, dreaming them into reality. So it's kind of like, this is what you're presenting at now, but what I see at the core of it is who you are and the potential that you bring and the contribution that you have to humanity. And my gift really is to help people see that for themselves and take their power back, so that they can make the changes to make their own life better, but to better humanity, and to help Earth, really, to help this planet that we live on. So this is what I do. I don't know what you call that. I help people remember to stay human. And I don't mind, honestly, sharing my vast and expanding catalogue of fuck-ups and challenges, because I too have flaws and weaknesses. And being human helps to create illumination, acceptance, and unity. So my work as a family constellations facilitator supports this. So for a long time, I was working with neuroscience and the power and how we can change our beliefs, and how we can become aware and be curious observers of what's going on in our life. And when you take that opportunity to step back and look at things from the outside, you've then got a choice as to whether you want to do that again or whether you want to choose something new. And that's what I was doing, was to support people that way. But then when I came across family constellations, this was great, because you don't have to be consciously aware of what it is or where you've inherited this thing from. You can just know that it's something that comes from before, and you can bring this dysfunction into awareness and bring harmony back to it. So it just added this extra element. But all of this explains to me, anyway, hang on. Sorry about that, I can't cut it out either because I'm going. All of that explains to me why I struggle so much with saying why I'm the best person to help someone, when in truth, I work behind the scenes. I'm cheering people on. And And I know that I'm more human than holy. And I'm constantly seeking betterment for humanity. So the ideal is to become wholly human, as in WHOLE, whole E, human. So to sum up, while I can tell you that I work with EFT, energy psychology and practices, Ayurvedic principles and different modalities, what I do in a nutshell is love on people so hard that they remember what it feels like to be alive, to feel connected, to belong, to be inspired, to remember the power and potential to hold and to live it. They do the work, I open the door and I tell them to peek inside and I nudge them forward into change, into more love and wholeness and joy in this human experience. So I can help you transform your life, your beliefs about it and about yourself. And all I can say is I do this through staying curious about humankind, about you, and reminding you of your true nature so that you can enjoy life more as you flourish and flower. And I still can't tell you what this current version of me offers in terms of a title though. What is it that I do? Answers on a postcard.